it really still a democracy if lawyers and law firms are being pressured not to represent people accused of trying to undermine that democracy? Or is a country defined by the rights it extends to the least popular people it controls? Our fourth story in the countdown, these apparently are not fundamental questions, but mere rhetorical wastes of time for the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense in charge of the detainees at Gitmo and elsewhere. That man, Cully Stimson, can't be bothered with the abstract idea of everyone deserving legal defense within our system. He wants to punish, financially pressure law firms and attorneys providing detainees those legal defenses, which our government, indeed our whole history as a nation, supposedly holds sacred.
Somebody asked, who are the lawyers around this country representing detainees down there? And you know what? It's shocking. The major law firms in this country, Pillsbury, Winthrop, Jenner and Block, Wilmer, Cutler, Pickering, Covington and Burling here in D.C., Sutherland, Asbill, Brennan, Paul Weiss, Rifkin, Mayor Brown, Weil, Goschel, Pepper, Hamilton, Venable, Alston and Byrd, Perkins, Cooey, Hunt and Williams, Fulbright, Jaworski, all the rest of them are out there representing detainees. And I think, quite honestly, when corporate CEOs see that those firms are representing the very terrorists who hit their bottom line back in 2001, those CEOs are going to make those law firms choose between representing terrorists or representing reputable firms. And I think that is going to have major play in the next few weeks.
But clearly,
it'll be fun to watch that play out.
Pentagon Saturday disavowed Stimson's comments, but we cannot truly know whether that's because Stimson veered from the Pentagon's thinking or because he revealed it. Let's turn to constitutional scholar Jonathan Turley, professor of law at George Washington University. As always, sir, thanks for your time tonight.
Hi, Keith.
Every time we talk, I think we have hit the new high and low, but this administration tops itself or bottoms itself. Technically, he's not saying CEOs should boycott those law firms. He's just predicting that they will. But does what he said still qualify as either intimidation or an attempt to thwart the constitutional right to counsel?
So it obviously does. It's outrageous. I mean, this guy is some type of troglodyte. But what worries me is that the troglodytes feel comfortable coming out and saying things like this. It's horrible. And the question should not be whether they're distancing themselves from his comments. He should be fired. I mean, I don't understand what it takes to be fired in this country, in this administration. But he's in charge of detainees at a place that has become the symbol of abuse, of American hypocrisy. And he goes out on the air and clearly tries to get companies and CEOs to put pressure on lawyers not to represent these people, not to make sure the rule of law is followed. What does it take to get fired in the Bush administration?
Obviously, disagreeing with the policy of the Bush administration, that would be what the track record would suggest. But to answer your rhetorical question, but to the cases, is there pertinence still here? I mean, what happens regarding them? Is there any kind of action appropriate, either from the bar, from the judges in the cases? Who should be weighing in on this, saying, hey, you know what, the government just screwed the pooch on these cases?
Well, I think that lawyers around the country are going to respond, particularly the ABA, to this type of statement. I mean, this really violates a central covenant that we all have as lawyers, and it's something that we learned in law school, that having representation is essential to our system of government. What Stimson is saying is that clients shouldn't have allowed John Adams to represent them because he represented people in the Boston Massacre who were just as unpopular as the people at Gitmo. So according to Stimson, John Adams should have been treated as a pariah. It is un-American, and it takes more, I think, more of an obligation of the administration to simply say he's not speaking for us. He is the leading official in charge of these detainees. What he said wasn't just wrong, it was positively vile for a lawyer to say such things.
Is that right? John Adams represented the British soldiers after Lexington and Concord? That's right, isn't it?
He represented the English soldiers,
right.
and was unpopular for that reason, but he insisted on doing that so that they could show that the due process of all these individuals was upheld.
The firm at Paul Weiss that was mentioned has actually been getting money hand over fist from some of the biggest pockets on the right for defending the former Cheney Chief of Staff, Scooter Libby. That the selection of the jury is beginning this week. Is there any chance that the Libby people are going to pull out? Are they the ones that Cully Stimson was talking to? What's going to happen there?
Well, I think that what he's trying to do, and we also saw an editorial occurring around the same time, so this seems to be a coordinated effort. What he's trying to do is to get some type of groundswell, all of the loyal Republicans in these corporations to put pressure, basically saying that if these people are vindicated, if their rights are recognized, it'll be bad for the administration. And we've seen this before, this effort to try to keep these people from the courtroom, and now they're pursuing the lawyers and trying to keep them out as well.
Boy, oh boy. Just another reminder to anybody in the Bush administration, the rights you take away from somebody at Gitmo today will be the ones taken away from you in 10 years. Jonathan Turley, law professor at George Washington University. As always, John, great. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot.